Before playlists, before algorithms, before radio knew what it was allowed to play, there was a decade that rewrote the rules. The 1960s didn't just produce hit songs, it reshaped radio itself. How long a record could be, what a voice could sound like, and who was finally allowed on the air. These songs didn't follow radio standards, they forced radio to change. Number 10, Chubby Checker, The Twist, 1960. Before The Twist, radio played songs you listened to. After it, radio played songs you moved to. Released in 1960, Chubby Checker's The Twist didn't just start a dance craze, it changed how stations thought about audience participation. This was music without complexity, no story to follow, no emotion to decode.
Yeah, just like this.
Just rhythm, just movement, just invitation, and radio embraced it. The Twist proved that a record didn't need rebellion or romance to dominate airwaves. It needed accessibility. Even more radical, it crossed age, race, and class lines effortlessly. Teenagers danced to it, adults danced to it, radio stopped targeting listeners and started targeting moments. The result was seismic. The Twist became the first song to hit number 1 twice, not because radio changed it, but because radio needed it again. From that moment on, radio was no longer just a speaker. It was a dance floor. Number 9, Jefferson Airplane, White Rabbit, 1967. Before White Rabbit, radio avoided suggestion. This song embraced it. Released in 1967, White Rabbit brought psychedelic consciousness straight onto AM airwaves, not through slang, but through implication. There was no chorus, no release, no safety net. Just a slow, hypnotic build inspired by bolero and lyrics that trusted the listener to understand. Radio programmers hesitated, but the audience didn't. White Rabbit proved that subtlety could be louder than rebellion, that coded language could bypass censorship and still reshape perception. This wasn't protest music, it was instruction. And radio, for the first time, allowed a song to alter mood instead of selling emotion. After White Rabbit, radio could no longer pretend innocence. It had broadcast the inner mind, and there was no turning back. Number 8, The Kingsmen, Louie Louie, 1963. Louie Louie didn't change radio because of what it said. It changed radio because no one could agree on what it might have said. Released in 1963, the Kingsmen's version sounded sloppy, loud, and barely intelligible. The vocals were buried, the words were a mess, and that terrified radio. Stations feared hidden obscenities. Parents complained, authorities investigated. The FBI even opened a file and found nothing, but the damage was done. Louie Louie proved that control over meaning had slipped away, that radio could no longer guarantee clarity, decency, or interpretation. From this point on, distortion became acceptable, mumbling became style. Energy mattered more than diction. Radio learned a hard lesson. Once a song connects, it no longer belongs to the gatekeepers. It belongs to the noise. Number 7, The Beach Boys, Good Vibrations, 1966. Good Vibrations didn't fit radio rules, so radio changed the rules. Released in 1966, the song was expensive, fragmented, and structurally unpredictable. It jumped keys. It shifted moods. It sounded like multiple songs stitched together. For radio programmers, this was a nightmare. Pop songs were supposed to be simple. 3 minutes, one idea, one hook. Good Vibrations ignored all of that and still became a massive hit. This was the moment radio accepted the studio as an instrument. That production itself could be the star. The eerie theremin lines, the sudden stops, the modular recording technique. Listeners didn't question it, they embraced it. After Good Vibrations, radio no longer demanded minimalism. It allowed ambition. From that moment on, pop records didn't just fill airtime, they justified it. Number 6, The Temptations, My Girl, 1964.
When it's cold outside,
Before My Girl, soul on radio often meant intensity. This song chose tenderness. Released in 1964, My Girl softened the sound of Motown without weakening it. The opening bass line was gentle. The melody was welcoming. The emotion was universal. Radio embraced it instantly.
what can make me feel this way?
My Girl proved that soul music didn't need urgency to connect. It could breathe. It could smile. This was crossover without compromise. Black music wasn't being diluted for white audiences. It was being recognized. The Temptations didn't shout love. They spoke it calmly, and radio learned something important. Warmth travels faster than force.
Yeah, my girl, I've got
After My Girl, romantic vulnerability became primetime radio material, not as novelty, not as exception, but as the standard. Number 5, The Ronettes. Be My Baby, 1963. Be My Baby. Sounded bigger than the radio itself. Released in 1963, it arrived with a wall of sound that felt impossible to contain. The opening drum hit wasn't subtle. It was a declaration. Radio had never heard pop this massive. Phil Spector's production turned a 3-minute song into an event. Every element was layered. Every echo was intentional. Yet at the center was vulnerability. Ronnie Spector's voice wasn't buried. It was elevated. This changed radio's expectations overnight. Songs no longer had to feel small to sound intimate. They could be enormous and still feel personal. After Be My Baby, radio chased scale.
I'll make you happy, baby.
Bigger drums, louder emotions, records that didn't just play and they arrived. This wasn't just a hit, it was a blueprint. Number 4, Aretha Franklin, Respect, 1967. Respect didn't ask for attention. It demanded it. Originally written and recorded by Otis Redding, the song was transformed completely when Aretha Franklin took control in 1967. On the radio, this wasn't a cover, it was a takeover. Aretha didn't just sing the word respect, she defined it. Her delivery turned a personal request into a public statement. Every note carried authority. Every pause felt intentional. Radio had never heard confidence like this, not from a woman, and not this unapologetic. The spelling, the backing vocals, the command in her voice. This wasn't just soul music crossing over. This was power crossing over. After Respect, radio could no longer pretend to be neutral. Songs weren't just entertainment anymore. They were declarations, and when Aretha came through the speakers, radio didn't just play her, it listened. Number 3, The Rolling Stones, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, 1965. By 1965, radio was still trying to sound clean, polite, controlled. I Can't Get No. Satisfaction tore straight through that illusion. From the first blast of Keith Richards' buzz-soaked riff, this didn't sound like a song meant to behave. It sounded irritated, restless, uncomfortable. And that was the point. Mick Jagger wasn't singing about love or heartbreak. He was complaining. About advertising, about expectation, about modern life itself. That tone was new, cynical, sarcastic, dangerous. Radio executives hesitated. Some stations tried to limit airplay. Others couldn't stop playing it, because listeners recognized the feeling instantly. This was the sound of a generation that felt sold to, talked down to, and permanently dissatisfied. And radio, whether it liked it or not, became the delivery system for that frustration. Satisfaction didn't just introduce distortion into the mainstream. It introduced attitude. After this song, rock didn't need permission. It didn't need approval. Radio had crossed a line. Number 2, the Beatles. I Want to Hold Your Hand, 1964.
Tell you something.
Before 1964, radio hits came and went. After this song, radio created movements. I Want to Hold Your Hand didn't arrive quietly. It exploded. When it hit American radio in early 1964, stations played it non-stop, not because they were told to, but because listeners demanded it. Phone lines jammed. Request shows collapsed. DJs lost control of their own playlists. The song itself was simple, bright chords, a clean melody, no rebellion in the lyrics. But the sound was different. That opening chord was sharper, louder, more urgent than anything else on the dial. The vocals weren't smooth. They were joyful, desperate, almost shouting. It felt young, uncontained. Radio had never sounded like this before.
It's such a feeling that
More importantly, radio had never caused this kind of reaction. Teenagers didn't just listen. They screamed, fainted, and reorganized their lives around broadcast schedules. I Want to Hold Your Hand turned radio into a trigger, a signal that culture itself was shifting. After this, programmers understood something new. One song could change everything, and once the door opened, it would never close again. Number 1, Bob Dylan, Like a Rolling Stone, 1965. Radio was never meant to play this song, 6 minutes long, no chorus designed for sing-along, lyrics that sounded more like accusations than entertainment. By every rule of 1965 radio, it should have failed. Instead, it rewrote the rules. When Like a Rolling Stone hit the airwaves, programmers panicked. Some stations literally cut the song in half, others refused to play it at all. Listeners didn't care. They demanded the full version, again and again. This was the moment radio stopped being background noise and became confrontation. Dylan wasn't comforting anyone. He wasn't selling romance or escape. He was asking uncomfortable questions about identity, privilege, and collapse. The sound mattered just as much as the words. That snare hit felt like a door being kicked open. The organ line refused to resolve. Nothing here was polite. And radio let it happen. Once a 6-minute bitter poetic monologue could dominate the charts, nothing was off limits anymore. Longer songs, heavier themes, artists who didn't want to be liked. Like a Rolling Stone didn't just change radio formats, it changed what radio was allowed to say. After this, radio stopped chasing youth, it started chasing truth.